Welcome to Post Fight with Ray Thompson. This show is powered by MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. For more interviews and podcasts, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. You can also follow MMA Crypt on Facebook and Twitter. It's at MMA Crypt on Twitter and MMA Crypt on Facebook. To follow me, it's at MMA Mental on Twitter and Ray Thompson on Facebook. I'm now joined by Chris Kelades. Chris is coming off of a successful UFC debut, beating Patrick Holohan at UFC Fight Night 54, taking his pro record to 8-1 and his UFC record to 1-0. Chris, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries. Thanks, Ray, for having me.
Congratulations on winning in what was what, you know, on paper was a very, very tough fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this level, I think every fight's a tough fight, no matter who it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think it's fair to note as well that you were a big underdog going into the fight with the odds. Now, you took the fight on short notice. How did you find out you were gonna be fighting?
I was paying pretty close attention to the card just because of it being in my, pretty much my hometown here, really, and just seeing who I paid attention as soon as the card was released. Because there's a lot of times when guys get injured and or last-minute replacements, and I was just holding on hope that that was going to be my case. So, I was just staying on top of things. Heard that that Lewis had gotten ill and fallen out. So we just got basically my people in touch with UFC people and let them know that I was licensed, ready to go.
Now, how much notice did you have for the fight?
I started to hear rumblings the Sunday before, and then Monday it was signed. So what is that? 5 days, I guess.
5 days, yeah. How much weight did you have to cut for the fight?
More than I care to any other time, but I mean, the opportunity, fit what I had to do. So, it was worth it. It was a calculated risk, and I made the weight, which was good. And I was able to go 3 rounds, which in my mind was a question mark, but, got her done.
Absolutely. Now, I spoke to Charles Rosa the other week, and he was in the other day, sorry, he was in a similar position to yourself, and he took a fight on short notice. He told me he cut 30 pounds in 5 days.
Yeah. What weight does Rosa fight at?
He was a featherweight, so he went from 178 to about obviously to 145. He fought Dennis Seaver in Sweden. Yeah. No, I heard about that. I just wasn't sure what weight it was at. I mean, if you did the backwards math to somebody fighting that flyweight, it's very considerable, or very, very considerably close. Yeah. Well, now Patrick Holohan was coming off of a big win as well. Of course, he submitted Josh Sampo in his own UFC debut. So, what was your view on him as an opponent?
Well, like I said, everybody, I mean, at this level is good, but the thing at this level too is guys have the opportunity to get better so much quicker. So you don't want to underestimate a guy because, a lot of the times he's not going to be the same fighter that he was 3-4 months ago because, guys are afforded the ability now to train a lot more and to get better quicker. So, I didn't want to say that he was going to be the exact same fighter as that. I wanted, in my mind's eye, I was thinking that he was going to be, an evolved fighter from what he was in that fight. I mean, I seen that fight, so I knew that he had a ground game and, that he was a longer guy with longer strikes. So, I had that in the back of my mind going into the fight, but I didn't let it, dictate necessarily the fight. I still had to fight my fight, but those were the things that I was aware of.
Now, it's fair to say the first round didn't go to plan. Holohan had a lot of success with takedowns. What did your corner say to you after the first round?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I can't really remember now what they said. I think I just, in my own mind, I figured out what I had to do. So I just, through that first round, I knew what I had to do to win and pretty much just close the distance, get him down. I respected his ground game, maybe too much in the first that I didn't want to go there. I kind of wanted to exploit the feet, but his striking is very unorthodox, very herky-jerky, and I was having a hard time getting the timing down, and I was having a hard time just getting going. So I had to get in there and mix it up really quick and just make it a grind kind of fight, and then that kind of slipped right into what I wanted and what I needed to happen to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, round two was like a completely different fight. So what did you change in the second round to make such a big difference in the fight?
I just stopped thinking and let everything take over, and usually when I enter a fight, I think about what I have to do for the first, 30 seconds or a minute just to get the thing going. And then it usually just takes on a life of its own and your training kicks in and you just start reacting. But I think my mind was going so much that I wasn't able to let my body react. So I had to just let my mind go to rest and just let my body take over in my reaction and my training. And that's kind of what seen me through there.
Now, did you feel going into the third round that it was one round each?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely knew it was one round. I knew. I kind of, that's why when he took my back, I was just kind of hung out there, and I wasn't really going to be aggressive to get out of it because I knew I had pretty much lost the first round just from what had happened. So I wasn't going to go buck wild and open myself up to get submitted or do something stupid and make a mistake. So when I knew that round was done, I just said, it's not going to be like that again, and I'll win the next two rounds. And that's, when I won the second round so decisively and I felt his battery drop, I knew that round three was going to be mine.
How did your cardio feel going into the third round?
Oh, I was exhausted. I was definitely exhausted. So I just had to get it moving and get the fight going again. But I mean, I knew that he was tired too because I knew I had really punished him with some body knees to the body, and I felt life leave him, and I knew through some of our grappling exchanges that he was done and that he was breaking, and I just had to go in there and seal it.
Now, you looked great in the third round working from the top. You landed with some big shots, knees and punches. Did you feel you'd done enough to win the fight?
Yeah, I knew as soon as the fight was done that I had won the fight, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, I was very close to finishing in the second. To be honest, I'm really surprised that they didn't stop that fight in the second round, especially when you see him get up, how he was disoriented and bouncing all over the cage. I mean, he was done, definitely.
Now, in the press conference, you were awarded the fight of the night. How surprised were you to win the bonus?
Oh man, that's a dream come true right there. I had been watching after my fight, and it starts to sink in how good of a fight it was. You start to watch the other fights, just hoping that they're good fights, but not good enough to beat yours. So I was thrilled to have that happen.
Now, it's well known there isn't a lot of money in the sport until you make it to the top. So, for you personally, how big is a 50,000 bonus?
Oh, that's a huge thing for my career, for making money now, because I mean, yeah, a lot of guys are not making big money until you get into a few fights and a few wins and consecutive wins, right? So having this kind of base to draw on right away is going to be substantial for, investing money into my development and just taking the pressure off of life in general, really.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's well deserved as well. Like I said to you before we started recording, it was a fantastic fight. Now, how did you feel after the fight? Do you have any injuries? And ideally, when would you like to get back into the cage?
I'm not too injured. I mean, I'm banged up in a few spots and just letting things heal. This was my fourth fight this year, so as much as I want to take a little bit of time to just let the body kind of mend and work on some development stuff. That's kind of what I'd really like to do right now, is just work on some development stuff. But I want to keep the momentum rolling in the same sense. So we'll let myself heal, see what the UFC has in mind, and then just go from there.
Now, after such an impressive UFC debut, who would you like to face next?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I was talking with somebody about that earlier today, and I think I'm going to have to get on the website and dig into a little more of the flyweights and see who's out there. I mean, the division is a growing division, so they're constantly, adding and developing it. So it'll be interesting to see what the next step is for me. I personally, I don't really have a preference at this stage. Just getting my feet wet with the whole thing, and we'll look to the future here to see what it holds.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today, and congratulations on winning your UFC debut.
Oh, I appreciate it, Ray. Thank you.
And before we let you go, I just want to give you a chance to do some shout-outs. So if there's anyone you want to thank, I know a lot of people help you get ready for the fight. And also, if you want to shout out your Facebook and your Twitter for the listeners.
Yeah, for sure. My Facebook, I mean, you can get me on Chris Kelades. And with the Twitter, it's Kelades MMA. So Kelades MMA. And you can get me there. And, I just got to give a shout out to, obviously, my gym, Fit Plus, for always having some good training partners and guys, to train with and pushing me. And, my family, obviously, for their support. And, my coach, Scott McLean, and my corner guys that were with me, TJ Grant and Tristan Johnson, they're good training partners. I had, quite a few sponsors jump on board really, really quick last minute, which was good. Blacktop Paving, Fear the Fighter, Take-Core Development Group, Dr. Sebi D, FightMD.com, Massage Experts, Pulse Signs. I mean, there was a lot of people that just jumped on within 5 days and really helped everything come together. So I got to give a shout out to those guys for hooking me up and being there with me.
Well, I can't wait to see you step back in the cage again.
All right, sir. Appreciate it.